AI regulations, talking about Sam Altman and the strides that AI has taken since its launch in 2022. They have been issued with respect to how much and to what extent should one regulate AI. Now, Government of India is hell-bent on sending out directives and regulating AI, and AI regulations are expected to come out any time from now. That is the understanding. But Meta, Google, companies who are pioneers in AI, and Microsoft, companies who are pioneers in AI, are worried about what will regulations do when it comes to throttling the advancements that AI can make.
So what's really happened, Shweta, is that AI regulations in their full-fledged form, which would come by way of the Digital India Act as a replacement to the existing IT Act of the year 2000, is likely to, as per latest reports, come out only post-general elections next year.
That is correct.
So not before June or July next year can we expect a full-fledged Digital India Act, which would have many clauses on AI and within AI on deepfake, etc. Remember, deepfake is when this controversy really began, and the recent examples of deepfake is when the government really stood up and took notice of the challenge, especially of deepfake in the context of AI in a run-up to the election year. But having said that, 24th November, Ashwini Vaishnav, the IT minister, had said that within 10 days, there is going to be a clear-cut framework or guidelines, if not a pure act, because it's not going to be possible to pass a bill in parliament immediately and get that converted into an act. But some sort of a framework, guidelines for tech companies, for platforms, social media platforms, also referred to as fiduciaries, to adopt and implement in India. And in the absence of following that, there could also be penal punishment for them. But coming back to more than 10 days since that announcement was made, 2 days back, Rajiv Chandrasekhar said that within 2 days, which is today, there should be that rolling out of or the notification of those guidelines. So we are hoping by end of day today at some point, we should know what this interim AI regulation should look like. But both Meta and Google, like you mentioned, are not taking very kindly to India's sort of, hard touch regulation expected on AI. And they're saying that any sort of tough regulations or any sort of hard-handed regulation is going to not just be bad for innovation, but is also going to throttle investments into the country. So these are pretty much alarm bells which are being rung right now by both Meta and Google. Meta very clearly saying that that we have an EU example, and EU regulations did end up stifling the innovation of AI in that region. Why would India want to repeat that instance? And if India were to go ahead and press on hard regulations, then it's not just innovation, but also, like I said, investments that Meta may want to make through new products, through new services, employing more people, getting innovation to happen here. All those investments could also take a back seat.
But India has a very strong case for regulating AI. Now, we don't know to what extent India will regulate AI, but the emergence of deepfake right ahead of election season here in India calls for regulation. And I think to that extent, regulating AI would be in everybody's interest.
So I think the debate right now is everybody has agreed that some sort of regulation would be important, should be made, but should it be a light touch regulation? Should it be a heavy hand regulation? I think that is the fine line that the government would want to sort of ride over. Now, in the same context, so Meta is saying that it's both innovation as well as investment into the country, which could get throttled back. Google, on the other side, is saying that this removal of the safe harbor clause, and this is something that, again, MOSIT Rajiv Chandrasekhar had said at the start of this whole deepfake controversy last month. He had very clearly said that the safe harbor clause, which prevents social media platforms or platforms, digital platforms of any kind, to sort of find solace in, which prevents them or insulates them from user-generated content being in the realm of synthetic or deepfake, is no longer going to be applicable. So Google is worried about that, and Google says that if Google is held accountable for any platform that publishes content which is deepfake in nature or synthetic in nature or AI altered in nature, then that again could spell bad news for innovation in the country, as well as Google's own plans to sort of, continue its investments here. So obviously some sort of panic in big tech, some sort of ringing of alarm bells, and maybe a soft warning to India that, hey, we are looking at investing, we are continuing our investments and innovations here in India. So please handle us with care. That seems to be the message coming out from big tech.
And the removal of the safe harbor clause essentially means that all of these big tech companies will be responsible for who publishes on their platform. Up until now, they were insulated. If they're no more insulated, they will be open to not just penal action, but also perhaps lawsuits.
True.
And face the law of the land in the country, not making them very happy right now. But the government of India very adamant that AI regulations will come in, some sort of interim regulations expected perhaps by today or tomorrow.